Beavis and Butthead. But although, when did that game come out? Does it say when it came out? Because this was October 1994. Well, I didn't start. Let's see, October 1994. I was in, depending on the time of the year. Let's see here. When did Beavis Butt-Head SNES debut? 1994. Okay, this could have been just before I started 6th grade. Does it say when? Because in 1994, when I was in 5th grade, I had to have an emergency tonsillectomy because my tonsils were like all sorts of fucked up. And basically, the doctor told my mom, he's like, your son needs to get his tonsils cut out. Basically, he was having like a lot of problems, or I was having a lot of problems. They cut my tonsils out. They did like a, I'm not sure what the correct term is, but they examined the tonsils and they actually said that my tonsils, if I kept my tonsils, for a few more weeks, my tonsils were on the verge of becoming cancerous. They ended up having to cut not only my tonsils off, they had to cut the flesh out of my throat where the tonsils were, because they were already, that bad. So let's see here. October 1994. I could have sworn I played this game during my recovery, though. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I played it later. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. Beavis and Butthead. You can't go wrong with Beavis and Butthead. You just can't. I love this game. My mom, my mom being, a good mom like she was, when I said, hey, Mom, can I watch Beavis and Butthead? She didn't even have to say no. She just went, and that literally said it all. So here's something I did when I was really young. Don't tell my mom. So when Beavis and Butthead would air, I think it was like at 10:30, 11ish on MTV. Now MTV during this time in the 90s, early 90s, when they first debuted, they were on Century Communications, which was the television company where I lived at the time. They were on channel 34. So I had this old, small Sony television. And the television wasn't digital at all. It had like little knobs on the undercarriage of the frame, the front of the frame, little knobs that you have to kind of turn to turn the brightness up and down, the coloring, all that. So here's what I did. I knew that Beavis and Butthead would be on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, around that time frame. I had to be in bed no later than 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Sunday, I had to be in bed at 9 because school was the next day. I would wait till my mom went to bed, and I had a clock in my room. I would look at the clock. I would see that it was 10, about almost about the time Beavis and Butthead would come on. And I would, get up out of my bed, carefully walk to my bedroom door. I'd carefully close the door. I would leave the light off. Because my mom, she even though her bedroom was across the hallway and the head of her bed was actually at the farthest end of the room, so she technically could not see my bedroom door from her perspective. Somehow she had eyes like a hawk. If I turned the lights on, even though I closed my bedroom door, she would still be able to see just a little bit of light shining under, on the carpet from underneath the door. So I couldn't risk that. So what I would do is like I said, I would get up, carefully close the door. I would walk over to the TV. I would then turn down the brightness. Turn down the brightness. The TV actually had a headphone jack on the side. I would plug in my headphones that I would have that came with my Walkman. I'd plug them in. I would turn on the TV, and you could barely see the picture, but I could hear the video or the TV show, and that's how I would watch Beavis and Butt-Head. She never found out. Please don't tell her. I think she's going to kill me if she finds out. But anyway, going back to the game. This was one of those few games I had to rent in privacy. It's kind of like when you're a teenager and you find a porno magazine. You got to keep that thing secret. You can't let anybody see it, especially your parents, especially your mom. So when I rented this game, I would have to rent this game and not let her know about it. So basically what I would do is I would, go to Tops, rent a game. I'd rent 2 games. There would be one game, then the other game would, like, say, be Beavis and Butt-Head. And I would come home, and the thing was, I would have to kind of hide that second game, like, in my coat, under my shirt, or whatever possible, just to make sure she did not see the game. Because God help me if she found that game. Ooh, boy. Anyway.